It has been, needless to say, a very eventful day in Philadelphia, and that brings us to our opening tip. Our opening tip is the very latest on the situation involving Ben Simmons and his relationship with the Sixers. The man who knows all is with us live. Woj, what's the very latest?
Greeny, certainly the tone and tenor of this really 4-month standoff between the Sixers and Ben Simmons changed today. He came into the team's facility, told the medical staff, Doc Rivers, and his teammates that he wasn't ready mentally to meet his own expectations to play. And he's going to seek professional help. And the Sixers, listen, they're being supportive, and they're going to make sure that all of their assistance, all of their resources are available to Ben Simmons. And listen, they were very aggressive leading up to this and wanting to get him on the court. But with what he told them today, it changes the tone of it. And now the Sixers will work with Ben Simmons, to try to get to a place where maybe he's able to return at some point.
Okay, fair enough. And while the tone changes, I would not imagine that the intention on his part or theirs to trade him changes as well. So what is the latest, as best we know it, on their attempts to trade Ben Simmons and anything else we're hearing around the league?
Greeny, here's what's interesting. That the Sixers play the Nets, obviously, tonight, who are without Kyrie Irving. Daryl Morey has called all over the league, talked to teams about star players everywhere and trying to find a deal for Ben Simmons. One team he has not called, I'm told, that's the Brooklyn Nets. He has not lobbed a call to Sean Marks, their GM, about Kyrie Irving. Brooklyn, I'm told, has taken incoming calls from teams on Kyrie Irving, but they have not themselves made any calls about Irving. So Brooklyn and Philadelphia, with these two players in limbo, they have not talked to each other about a Simmons for Kyrie Irving trade.
All right, teams in different situations, but in some ways very similar circumstances. Woj, stay close with the very latest. Outstanding as always. And you mentioned the different tone we're hearing in Philadelphia. Tobias Harris, perhaps a good example of that. If you take a look and see what he posted today when talking about his teammate Ben Simmons, he said, we'll respect his privacy and space during this time. When he's ready, we will embrace our brother with love and handle our business on the court. That's it. That's all. So the tone changes. The intentions, we assume, do not. Stephen A., what happens now?
Well, the Sixers will play that song and dance with everybody else and think somebody's buying it. I'm not. They don't believe Ben Simmons. I don't care what anybody says, because you can't believe him. Now, if you listen to Ben Simmons' camp, Rich Paul, his brother Sean, his brother Liam, guys like that, they will tell you that Doc Rivers, Elton Brand, Daryl Morey heard from Ben Simmons before that he wasn't mentally ready to play. Well, that was in July. Well, what about August? About September? It's now October, going into November. What efforts did you put forth to address those issues? We didn't know that, because had you done that, then perhaps Doc Rivers would not have thrown you out of your second practice that you were with the team, because we all know Doc Rivers to be a bit more compassionate than that, if indeed you had expressed those issues before. So nobody's buying this in terms of, I'm talking about the 76ers. I'm not talking about us. I'm talking about, they're going to say the right things because you have no choice. If a guy is telling you, listen, I'm not ready mentally, I'm just not there, et cetera, yeah, you might believe that to some degree, but in your mind's eye, you're raising that eyebrow and you're saying, well, this might allow you to get to stay home and not play and still get paid. So you better believe the Sixers going to talk to the league office. The Sixers going to talk to a few people. They're paying attention to what's going on. They're going to give him the benefit of the doubt. But trust me, it's with the proverbial raised eyebrow. Make no mistake about that.
It is, Stephen A. And I'm sure that that's the position they're coming from.
Right.
We are in a different place now with this conversation.
Absolutely.
And particularly as I go to another sport, other sports, Naomi Osaka and Simone Biles, the conversation has changed. And it's changed for everybody. It's changed for every sport. It has changed for every athlete. Simone Biles is the GOAT, probably, of her sport. Mm-hmm. So these people, the two I just mentioned, are much more accomplished in their respective sports than Ben Simmons is in his. And yet it's a conversation changer now. This conversation wouldn't have even been held 5 years ago, maybe not even 3 years ago. And now we're at a point where when Ben Simmons says this, there's no choice but to say, okay, we're listening to you. What does it mean? I mean, what do other clubs think? Because what does the league think? They've got to have people talk to, listen to, Ben Simmons. And money, so much money is at stake. Your last point is critically important because the Sixers are going to be saying, okay, is that just your attempt? You have to look at this skeptically as well, even though it's a conversation changer. Both, yes.
So this is extremely ugly, and it's bad for everybody involved. It's bad for the Sixers because you got to come in if you're Daryl Morey and realize if you're deciding to build around Joel Embiid, that Ben isn't attempting shots outside of the paint, so they don't fit. So you got to find a way to get a deal done. When they get bounced by the Atlanta Hawks, and we've heard so much about the process, and we've seen the Raptors go win it all. We've seen the Miami Heat win the Eastern Conference. We've seen the Bucks go win it all. They ain't getting closer. They getting further away. And then Ben Simmons has donuts in the fourth quarter, and they lose, right? That right there is going to play on anybody's psyche. And that's the tricky part about being an athlete. And this is why I implore young people to play sports, because it teaches you life skills, social skills, how to deal with success, how to deal with failure. So there is some pain and disappointment knowing that when you put on that uniform, that 30,000 people ready to boo you. Yes. When you're getting in and out of your car, you're not welcome in Philadelphia. Like, there is something to that. Now, a lot of this is self-inflicted. What he could have did is show up early. You know what? I would have been the first person there. If I didn't really want to play, I'd have been the first person there. Laid on the table, my back hurt. Then all of a sudden the narrative changes. But now we're at a point where I still believe in order to move him, he actually has to play again.
It is worth reiterating we're at a time and place, and this is a good thing, where people's understanding of the issues surrounding mental health in and outside of sports are far more advanced than they have been in the past. You made that point, and I know that you feel that way as well. Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.